Mr. Worthing, I have something very particular to ask you. Much depends on your reply.
Mr. Moncrieff, kindly answer me the following question. Why did you pretend to be my guardian's brother?
In order that I might have an opportunity of meeting you.
That certainly seems a satisfactory explanation.
Yes, if you can believe him.
I don't, but that does not affect the wonderful beauty of his answer.
True. Style, not sincerity, is the vital thing. Mr. Worthing, what explanation can you offer to me for pretending to have a brother? Was it in order that you might have an opportunity of coming up to town to see me as often as possible?
Can you doubt it?
I have doubts, but I intend to crush them. Their explanations appear to be quite satisfactory.
I am more than content with what Miss Moncrieff said.
Then you think we should forgive them?
Yes. I mean, no.
True. There are principles at stake that one cannot surrender.
Your Christian names are still an insuperable barrier. That is all.
Our Christian names?
But we are going to be christened
this afternoon.
For my sake, you're prepared to do this terrible thing?
I am.
To please me, you are ready to face this fearful ordeal?
I am.
Darling.
Lady Bracknell?
Oh, good heavens.
Gwendolen, what does this mean?
Merely that I'm engaged to be married to Mr. Worthing, Mamma.
All communication between you and my daughter must cease immediately.
But I am engaged to be married to Gwendolen, Lady Bracknell.
You are nothing of the kind, sir. And now, as regards to Algernon.
Yes, Aunt Augusta?
May I ask if it is in this house that your invalid friend, Mr. Bunbury, resides?
Oh, no, Bunbury doesn't live here. Bunbury is dead.
Dead? Well, his death must have been extremely sudden.
Oh, I killed Bunbury this afternoon. I mean, poor Bunbury died this afternoon.
What did he die of?
Oh, he was quite exploded.
Exploded?
I mean, the doctors found out that Bunbury could not live, so Bunbury died.
I am glad that he has made up his mind to some definitive course of action and acted under proper medical advice. And may I ask, Mr. Worthing, who is that young person whose hand my nephew Algernon is now holding in what seems to me a peculiarly unnecessary manner?
That lady is Miss Cecily Cardew, my ward.
I am engaged to be married to Cecily, Aunt Augusta.
I beg your pardon? The number of engagements seem to me considerably above the proper average that statistics have laid down for our guidance. I think some preliminary inquiry on my part would not be out of place. Mr. Worthing, is Miss Cardew at all connected with any of the larger railway stations in London? Until yesterday, I had no idea that there were any families or persons whose origin was a terminus.
Miss Cardew is the granddaughter of the late Mr. Thomas Cardew of 149 Belgrave Square.
That sounds not unsatisfactory.
I have also in my possession certificates of Miss Cardew's birth, baptism, vaccination, confirmation, and the measles, both the German and the English variety.
Oh, a life crowded with incident, I see. Gwendolen, the time approaches for our departure. As a matter of form, Mr. Worthing, I had better ask you if Miss Cardew has any little fortune?
Oh, about £130,000 in the funds. That is all. Goodbye, Lady Bracknell. So pleased to have seen you.
£130,000. Miss Cardew seems to me a most attractive young lady. Now that I look at her. Pretty child. Your dress is sadly simple, and your hair seems almost as nature might have left it. But we could soon alter all that. Kindly turn round, sweet child. No, the side view is what I want. Yes, quite as I expected. There are distinct social possibilities in Miss Cardew's profile. Well, I suppose I must give my consent.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
Thank you, Lady Bracknell.
You may also address me as Aunt Augusta for the future.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
The marriage, I think, had better take place quite soon.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Aunt Augusta.
Aunt Augusta.
I am not in favour of long engagements. They give people the opportunity of finding out each other's character before marriage, which I think is never advisable.
I beg your pardon, Lady Bracknell, but this engagement is out of the question. I am Miss Cardew's guardian, and she cannot marry without my consent until she comes of age. That consent I absolutely decline to give.
Upon what grounds, may I ask? Algernon is an eligible young man. He has nothing, but he looks everything. What more can one desire?
I do not approve of his moral character. I suspect him of being untruthful.
Untruthful? My nephew, Algernon?
I fear there can be no possible doubt about the matter. This afternoon, during my temporary absence in London, he obtained admission to my house by means of the false pretense of being my brother. He subsequently stayed to tea and devoured every single muffin. And he was perfectly aware from the first that I have no brother, that I never had a brother, and that I don't intend to have a brother, not even of any kind. I distinctly told him so myself yesterday afternoon.
Mr. Worthing, after careful consideration, I have decided to entirely overlook my nephew's conduct of you.
Well, that is very generous of you, Lady Bracknell. My own decision, however, is unalterable.
Come here, sweet child. How old are you?
I am only 18, but I always admit 20 when I'm at evening parties.
Well, it will not be very long before you are of age, so I don't think your guardian's consent was a matter of any importance.
Excuse me, Lady Bracknell, for interrupting you again. But according to the terms of her grandfather's will, Miss Cardew does not come legally of age until she is 35.
That does not seem to me to be a grave objection. 35 is a very attractive age. London society is full of women of the highest birth who have remained 35 for years. I see no reason why our dear Cecily should not even still be more attractive at the age you mentioned than she is at present.
Algie, could you wait for me till I was 35?
Of course I could, Cecily.
Yes, but I couldn't wait all that time. I hate waiting even 5 minutes for anybody. It always makes me rather cross. I am not punctual myself, I know, but I do like punctuality in others. And waiting, even to be married, is quite out of the question.
Then what is to be done, Cecily?
I don't know, Mr. Moncrieff.
My dear Mr. Worthing, as Miss Cardew states positively that she cannot wait till she is 35, I would beg of you to reconsider your decision.
The moment you consent to my marriage with Gwendolen, I will most gladly allow your nephew to form an alliance with my ward.
You must be quite aware that what you propose is out of the question.
Then a passionate celibacy is all that any of us can look forward to.
That is not the destiny I propose for Gwendolen. Algernon, of course, can choose for himself. Come, dear. We've already missed 5, if not 6 trains. To miss any more might expose us to comment on the platform.
Everything is quite ready for the christenings.
The christening, sir! Is that not somewhat premature?
I was led to believe that both of these gentlemen expressed a desire for immediate baptism.
At their age? The idea is grotesque and irreligious. Algernon, I forbid you to be baptized. I will not hear of such excesses.
Am I to understand then that there are to be no christenings at all this afternoon?
I don't think that as things are as they are now, it would be of much practical value to either of us, Dr. Chasuble.
It grieves me to hear such sentiments from you, Mr. Worthing. And now I shall return to the church. I've been informed by the pew opener that for the last hour and a half, Miss Prism has been waiting for me in the vestry.
Miss Prism? Did I hear you mention a Miss Prism?
Yes, lady. I'm going to join her now.
Pray me, allow you to detain you for a moment. Is this Miss Prism a female of repellent aspect, remotely connected with education?
She is the most cultivated of ladies and of the utmost respectability.
It is obviously the same person. May I ask what position she holds in your household?
I am a celibate, madam.
Miss Prism, Lady Bracknell, has been, for the last 3 years, Miss Cardew's esteemed governess and valued companion.
In spite of what I hear of her, I must see her at once.
Oh, she approaches.
I was told you expected me in the vestry, dear Canon. I have been waiting for you there for an hour and 3/4.
Come here, Prism. Where is the baby? 28 years ago, Prism, you left Lord Bracknell's house in charge of a preambulator that contained a baby of the male sex. You never returned. A few weeks later, the preambulator was discovered standing by itself in a remote corner of Bayswater. It contained a manuscript of a 3-volume novel, but the baby was not there. Where is the baby, Prism?
Lady Bracknell, I admit with shame that I do not know. On the morning of the day you mention, I prepared as usual to take the baby out in its perambulator. I had also with me a handbag in which I had intended to place the manuscript of a work of fiction that I had written during my few unoccupied hours. In a moment of mental abstraction for which I can never forgive myself, I deposited the manuscript in the bassinet and placed the baby in the handbag.
But where did you deposit the handbag?
Do not ask me, Mr. Worthing.
Oh, Miss Prism, I insist on knowing where you deposited that handbag that contained that infant.
I left it in the cloakroom of one of the larger railway stations in London.
What railway station?
Victoria. The Brighton line.
I must retire to my room for a moment.
Uncle Jack seems strangely agitated.
Your guardian is of a very emotional nature.
I wish he would arrive at some conclusion.
Suspense is terrible. I hope it will last.
Is this the handbag, Miss Prism? Examine it carefully before you speak. The happiness of more than one life depends on your answer.
It seems to be mine. Here is the stain on the lining caused by the explosion of a temperance beverage. And here on the lock are my initials. The bag is undoubtedly mine. I am delighted to have it so unexpectedly restored to me.
Oh, Miss Prism! Miss Prism, more is restored to you than this handbag. I was the baby you placed in it.
You?
Yes, Mother.
Mr. Worthing, I am unmarried.
Unmarried? Mother, I forgive you.
Mr. Worthing, there is some error. There is the lady who can tell you who you really are.
Lady Bracknell, I hate to seem inquisitive, but would you kindly inform me who I am?
I'm afraid that the news I have to give you will not altogether please you. You are the son of my poor sister, Mrs. Moncrieff, and consequently, Algernon's elder brother.
Algie's elder brother? Then I have a brother after all. I always said I had a brother. Algie, you young scoundrel, you will have to treat me with more respect in the future. You have never behaved to me like a brother in all your life.
Well, not till today, old boy, I admit. I did my best. However, I was out of practice.
My own one. But what own are you? What is your Christian name, now that you have become someone else?
Good heavens. I had quite forgotten that point. Your decision on the subject of my name is irrevocable, I suppose.
I never change, except in my affection.
What a noble nature you have, Gwendolen.
Aunt Augusta, a moment. At the time when Miss Prism left me in the handbag, had I been christened already?
Every luxury that money could buy, including christening, had been lavished on you by your fond and doting parents.
Then I was christened. Well, that is settled. Now, what name was I given?
Being the eldest son, you were naturally christened after your father.
Oh, yes, but what was my father's Christian name?
I cannot at present moment recall what the general's Christian name was, but I have no doubt that he had one.
Algie, can't you recollect what our father's Christian name was?
My dear boy, we were never even on speaking terms. He died before I was a year old.
His name would appear in the army lists of the period, I suppose, Aunt Augusta?
Well, the general was essentially a man of peace, except in his domestic life. But I have no doubt his name would appear in any military directory.
The army lists of the last 40 years are here. Oh, these delightful books should have been my constant study. M Generals, Mullen, Bloxham, Magley. Oh, what ghastly names they have. Markby, Mixby, Mobs, Moncrieff, Lieutenant, 1840, Captain, Lieutenant, Colonel, General, 1869. Christian names. Ernest John. I always told you, Gwendolen, my name was Ernest. Well, it's Ernest after all.
Yes. I remember now that the general was called Ernest. I knew I had some particular reason for disliking the name.
Ernest. My own Ernest. I felt from the first that you could have no other name.
Gwendolen, it is a terrible thing for a man to find out suddenly that all his life he's been speaking nothing but the truth. Can you forgive me?
I can. For I feel that you are sure to change.
Oh, my own one.
Letitia!
Frederick, at last!
Cecily, at last.
Gwendolen, at last.
My nephew, you seem to be displaying signs of triviality.
On the contrary, Aunt Augusta, I've now realised for the first time in my life the most important bits of being earnest.